The trade deadline is around a week away, and usually every year I want to post a video of me talking about 10 or so trades that I want to see go down at the deadline, or at least I think they should. So yeah, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? It's one of my favorite seasons. I think right after draft season, the trade deadline, it's amazing in the NBA. We usually see 5+ moves being made, at least on deadline day. Last year's deadline was crazy. We saw Kristaps Porzingis get traded from Dallas to Washington. We also saw James Harden get traded for Ben Simmons. That was crazy. A couple days before the deadline, we saw Domantas Sabonis and Tyrese Haliburton get traded for each other. So yeah, 10 trades today. I'm gonna explain my reasoning for both sides, why both teams would do these trades, and if I heard any rumors regarding these players be included in any of these deals. And yeah, this is just for fun. You might have to add a first, remove a first, add a couple seconds, maybe add a young player, remove a piece in these deals. They're not perfect, but they're just a general idea of what I think should and could happen. So yeah, drop a like if you guys do enjoy these, and let me know maybe down below your favorite trade that I mentioned in this video. So the first trade we have here today is between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Toronto Raptors. So Toronto will be sending OG Anunoby, one of the most coveted assets at this year's deadline, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, good three-point shooter on a nice contract. He'll be going to Memphis. Memphis finally going to use some of these assets. Danny Green is going to be included just to make the money work at $10 million. Xavier Tillman will be thrown in this trade. You could also throw in maybe Jake LaRavia or David Roddy in the spot. Desire Williams, probably the prime piece going back to Toronto, at least in the player side of things, has nice potential with his size and his position. And then 2 first-round picks, one in 2024 via Golden State. That's top 3 protected. This could be a very valuable pick, seeing where Golden State is headed. And then their Memphis's 2023 first-round pick this year, which is lottery protected, but this pick will most likely be in the mid to late 20s. So Toronto gets 2 young players in Tillman and Williams. They get a homecoming in Danny Green. He helped them win a title back in 2019. And 2 first-round picks for Anunoby. This could be because they value Zaire Williams still on that rookie deal, has 2 more years on that after the season. Will get a lot more playing time in Toronto, and they get 2 first-round picks. This one, yeah, it could be in the mid-20s. You might ask for a different first-round pick. Maybe you ask for a first-round pick in 2026 or 2025, where Memphis might not be good that season, but the Memphis Grizzlies, they're a young team. So Memphis will be giving up those first. I think they have to go up that Golden State pick. You could remove the protection as well. As for Memphis, you build one of the best lineups with Ja Morant at the 1, Desmond Bane at the 2, OG Anunoby at the 3, Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 4, and Steven Adams at the 5. That's a championship caliber lineup. You could also remove Danny Green and throw in Dillon Brooks. I just didn't know if Toronto would want Dillon Brooks per se. And this general idea is just getting OG Anunoby to Memphis because that is a championship caliber move. Next up, we have a trade that's already been kind of reported, and it's out there that the Bucks already offered the Suns this, and that's the Bucks getting Jay Crowder from the Phoenix Suns for Serge Ibaka, George Hill, Jordan Nwora, and 2 second-round picks. I love this trade for Milwaukee, and I actually kind of like it for the Suns as well. So for Milwaukee, you get Jay Crowder, good defender, I think an overrated offensive player. Yes, he's better than a lot of those guys on that Milwaukee Bucks bench, so this is a must-get because he's better than any of the 3 players you are dishing out, and you could use his defense in the playoffs. You'll have Holiday, you'll have maybe Grayson Allen at the 2, and then you have Crowder, Middleton, and Giannis, or you could take out Grayson Allen, you could throw in Jay Crowder in there. You have Middleton, Giannis, Brook Lopez. That is very filthy, especially on the defensive end. For Phoenix, you get rid of Jay Crowder. I don't think he's as valuable. He's a player that's holding out, which is kind of weird because it's Jay Crowder. It's not like it's a superstar. You're getting Serge Ibaka, who can give you backup big minutes at the end of his career. Not saying he's going to play a ton. George Hill can give you backup guard minutes. You already have one like 50-year-old point guard in Chris Paul. Get another one in George Hill. You have Jordan Nwora, who can maybe develop. He's got another year on his contract as well, on his rookie scale deal. If you like that wing depth, because they could use that if they could develop him. And then you get 2 seconds for Crowder. I don't think they're getting a first-round pick for Crowder, and you're getting 3 potential rotational players for him. I think it's a good deal for both sides, and I'd love to see this deal be made. Next up, we have the New York Knicks. It's the only New York Knicks one. I don't have them doing any crazy moves here, but I think this one is good for both sides. So it's the New York Knicks getting Saddiq Bey from the Detroit Pistons, who's been reportedly on the block, and the Knicks have shown interest in Saddiq Bey, and the Pistons are getting Cam Reddish and 2 first-round picks. Now, one of the first-round picks is Detroit's lottery-protected pick for the next couple seasons. You would think within the next 4 years, Detroit would make the playoffs, so they'll get one of those first back. They won't have to give that up to the Knicks whenever they do make the playoffs next. They get Dallas's 2023 pick, which could be in the mid to late late teens. Like, if that pick is around 18, 19, that has some good value, and you're getting Cam Reddish, who you could see play for 30 plus games for the remainder of the season. See how he, or maybe, yeah, around 30 games. See how he can play in your lineup, and maybe you want to extend him. I think he does have potential still in this league, just Tibbs doesn't give him a fair shot. And for the Knicks, you're getting Saddiq Bey, who you have this year and next year under his team contract. He's a good shooter and scorer off the bench. I think he's better than Cam Reddish, so Tibbs would maybe play him. And with Mitchell Robinson out, he can give you some good small ball lineups because he could play the 4 as well. You can maybe bump Randall down to the 5. So this is the idea of the Knicks getting Saddiq Bey, giving up multiple picks, and a young player in Cam Reddish. I don't think they'd be giving up Quickly or Grimes in this deal. They definitely wouldn't, actually. They didn't really even want to include them in the Donovan Mitchell deal. Maybe Obi Toppin, if Detroit prefers Obi Toppin instead of Cam Reddish. And then maybe they don't love getting their first round pick back. So maybe you can switch that out to one of the Washington ones or a Knicks lottery protected down the line. Trade number 4, we have the Brooklyn Nets going out and getting Malik Beasley for the Utah Jazz in exchange for Patty Mills, who's got another year on his contract, Seth Curry, an expiring deal. Those are to make the money work. Utah could then ship off one of those guys or both of them to a contending team. They get 2 second-round picks, one in 2025 via Miami, 2026 via Brooklyn, and then a 2023 pick from the Rockets or the Sixers, whatever team is worse, which will be the Sixers. So it's the Sixers' first round pick this year. And for Utah, you shed off some salary that you potentially would have to commit to in Malik Beasley, re-signing him, which I think they maybe should re-sign him if they do keep him past the deadline, because I like him on that team coming off the bench, being that scoring option for them, especially if they aren't going to pay Jordan Clarkson as well. But yeah, you get some guys that you could maybe flip as well. You get 2 second-round picks and a first for somebody that could be leaving in the offseason. I think this is good value for Utah as they're hitting like a soft reboot at the moment and definitely exceeding expectations this year. As for Brooklyn, you get another great scoring option off the bench. This would be huge when Kyrie and KD are either injured, not in the lineup, maybe not having the best night. Malik Beasley is one of those players that could just take over out of nowhere. The dude is an elite kind of score, like at times, right? Like when he's on, he's on. Yes, he will have some bad shooting nights, but that's kind of a lot of guys in his role. And I don't think he's a terrible defender either. And it will only cost you like the Philly first round pick and some salary filler. Like those 2 seconds, you're not really losing sleep over. He's going to cost you a lot cheaper than a Kuzma would or DeMar DeRozan or Bojan Bogdanovic. And Brooklyn's trying to win it all this year. All right, halfway through, we got trade number 5. This one is kind of shocked me as of late. Like I believe it was Shams, might have been Mark Stein, reported that the Nuggets are willing to move Bowen Tyland for a first-round pick. I don't really get this because Bowen Tyland has 2 more years of team control. When you're paying Porter Jr. and Murray and Gordon and Jokic all this money, that's going to be valuable, and I think he can keep progressing. But if they were going to trade him, I'd love for a team like Indiana to swoop in and pick him up. I think he could play next to Tyrese Halliburton. So this trade is Ish Smith and Bowen Tyland going from Denver to Indiana, and then Indiana will be shipping off TJ McConnell, who is a great veteran piece. He's having a great season for the Indiana Pacers. He would be a perfect backup point guard after they move Monty Morris. They'd be moving Bowen Tyland here in Denver. So right behind Jamal Murray, TJ McConnell. He's played in some big time games. He could play there off the bench for the Nuggets. You get a first round pick via Cleveland. This was from the Caris LeVert trade, so this pick's probably going to be in the 20s. And then you get 2 seconds as well. Because I don't know what team is really giving up a top 10 pick right now, potentially, because that could be Wemby or Scoot. So no, like, lottery team is trading their first for Bowen Tyland unless they know they might have the 10th overall pick in the draft. And if Highland is going at the deadline, I think you get a great veteran in TJ McConnell, who's on a team-friendly contract. You get a first-round pick that could be in the low 20s in Cleveland, and then you get 2 second-round picks, a 2023 San Antonio one. Like, that's going to be in the low 30s, so that's basically another first-round pick, and then you get another second-round pick as well. I like this trade for both teams. Indiana just adding to that young core of Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin. Now you got Bowen Tyland. I'm a fan of that. All right, this one was kind of a head scratcher. New Orleans has been interested in John Collins, so I was trying to get him there. So John Collins is going to New Orleans in exchange for Garrett Temple, Devontae Graham, Kyra Lewis, and a first-round pick. Now, you could expand this to a 3-teamer and just include Jonas Valanciunas. You don't have to include Devontae Graham or Garrett Temple. I just didn't know if Atlanta would want another center when you already have Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. So yeah, there could be a 3rd team involved in this. If it's like Collins going to New Orleans, you have Valanciunas going to a 3rd team, and then Atlanta picking up some other stuff. So yeah, basically Atlanta is getting, I think, a valuable 2025 Milwaukee first round pick, because who knows what like type of play Middleton is going to give you in 2025 if he's even on the Bucks, or Jrue Holiday as well. They're a Giannis injury away that season from basically having a good pick, and you're getting it unprotected. You're getting Kyra Lewis, so you can have come off the bench, get some backup point guard minutes. I mean, he's really not all that we thought he would be out of Alabama, but you get Garrett Temple, who can give you some good rotational minutes. But you do have to eat the Devontae Graham contract. This one was a little bit, I guess, like, it would be a good reason for Atlanta to decline that, because I'm not a fan of that contract at all, because it has a player option in the last year, so it's basically 3 more seasons. Oh yeah, I'm like 2 more after this year, but like the Pelicans, they could get John Collins. If they could develop him to being that center, once Valanciunas walks, like you could have Ingram, Zion, Collins, which would be interesting defensively, but you already have like some good defensive players as well, like Herb Jones, Dyson Daniels, Jose Alvarado, that can pick up some of that mess. I don't know. This is an interesting one, trying to get John Collins to New Orleans. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this idea down below. Next up, we have the Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers agreeing in a Karis LeVert for Gary Trent Jr. swap, but Toronto's also getting Dylan Windler and 2 second-round picks. I think getting Windler, who could still have some shooting ability, if you were to bring him back in 2 seconds, is solid value for Gary Trent, who could potentially leave in the offseason, and it's looking like that would happen. I don't think Toronto is going to pay Gary Trent. You get Karis LeVert, who, like I mentioned, for the Hawks and Valanciunas, you can get a 3rd team in here. You could try to maybe send LeVert off and get some more seconds or a young player. Maybe Dallas is interested in LeVert. I know they showed some interest in him a couple of weeks ago. As for the Cavs, I think Gary Trent Jr. is an upgrade over Karis LeVert. You're trying to find that guy right between that amazing backcourt and frontcourt. You've tried LeVert, you've tried Okoro, you've tried Jetty Osman. Maybe Gary Trent Jr. is your guy, and it shouldn't cost you too much. All right, Luka wanted some help. Let's get him some help. They're going to be trading for Kyle Kuzma. They're giving up Reggie Bullock, mainly to make the money work, Josh Green, and a 2025 unprotected 1st-round pick. So, for Dallas, you're getting a great shooter, a great ISO scorer, somebody that can complement Luka perfectly in Kyle Kuzma. You can have maybe it's Dinwiddie and Luka, and then you got either THJ or Bullock at the or not Bullock in this situation, THJ at the 3, Finney Smith as well at the 3, probably, and then you have Kuzma and Wood, which is a really good offensive lineup, maybe not the best defensive lineup in the world, but you're getting Luka some help, and Kuzma's been great. You get his bird rights, you try to re-sign him. As for Washington, you're getting Reggie Bullock, solid shooter. I mean, he's an alright role player. You're just getting him to make the money work. You're getting Josh Green, you have on his team contract next year as well. You don't have a lot of young players, so you're adding Green here, which is nice, and then you're getting an unprotected Dallas 2025 first. This could have a lot of value since Wood's an expiring deal, Kuzma's an expiring deal, Dinwiddie will be up by then, and they're still paying Bertans and Hardaway and Cleveland, some of these other guys where they're not going to be able to be too flexible with their cap space. You can also maybe ask for Jaden Hardy in this deal or another 1st-round pick. This overall idea was trying to get Kyle Kuzma to Dallas, and then just getting Luka some help there, and then Washington getting a young player and a 1st back for an expiring contract. But Kuzma's been so good, and he's still at a great age that you maybe try to get 2 first, or you try to get 2 young players in Green and Hardy. How to throw a 9 trade in here? So we have 2 small market teams making a move. We have Mason Plumlee going from Charlotte to Sacramento for Rashawn Holmes and 3 second-round picks. Apparently, Charlotte was interested in trading Plumlee for a 1st. Well, I have 3 seconds going to Charlotte here because Holmes is making about $11 million, which is just above the mid-level exception for the next 2 seasons. So that's where the 3 second-round picks come in play. Plumlee for this season is an upgrade over Holmes. Kings, they're trying to make their first playoff appearance in 15 plus years, and this is an upgrade at the 5 to do so. It's a small, minor deal. Not every deal that I want to happen is going to be a major one, and I'd love this deal for the Kings. And for the Hornets, you know what? Plumlee's going to leave. Get 3 second-round picks. You're not a big marker. You're not really using that cap space anyway because you're going to pay LaMelo soon, and you're still paying Rozier. You're still paying Hayward for another year. And then lastly, trade number 10. We have the Portland Trailblazers kind of packing it in, but not really. They're going to be trading Josh Hart to the Boston Celtics in exchange for Danilo Gallinari, Grant Williams, and a 2025 lottery protected 1st-round pick. So Gallo is here to mainly make the money work. I'm sure he would get waived from Portland or something like that. Grant Williams, you'd be able to have his restricted rights in the offseason if you want to keep him around, especially if you're going to lose Jeremy Grant. He could replace him in the short term, and then you're getting a 2025 1st-round pick with Tatum and Brown there and like all their other talent, Time Lord, etc. It's probably going to be in the mid to late 20s, so it's not a super valuable 1st-round pick. I love the idea of Josh Hart in Boston. I mean, Grant Williams hasn't had the best year, so this is a massive upgrade in who's getting those minutes. And then, like, I can't even imagine, like, you have Derek White and Josh Hart just coming off the bench. Like, those are 2 great wings coming off the bench when you already have 2 elite wings in Tatum and Brown starting. Yeah, this would make Boston all that better. They're trying to win a championship this year. You might say this is a little bit much for Josh Hart, but I don't think so because he's still on a great contract next year. I believe it's a team option as well, so that boosts his value. And then, yeah, you're giving up Grant, who you're probably not bringing back in the summer anyway, and a 1st-round pick. and which you're going to be probably picking in the late 20s because you got Jason Tatum. So yeah, those are 10 trades that could potentially happen, that I want to see happen, that I'd like to happen at this year's deadline. Let me know what you agreed with or disagreed with down below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, or maybe mention a trade that I didn't even talk about that you'd like to see down below. Maybe there's still a Miles Turner trade that you think is going to happen, or Pascal Siakam is going to get traded, or Bojan Bogdanovic, or Russell Westbrook still. So yeah, drop a like if you guys did enjoy. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.